All right. Oh, screw you. All right. Cool. Guys, I apologize for my tardiness, but life happens. I had to make dinner, so that was cool. Tried a new recipe that we kind of threw together on the fly from one of the YouTube shorts that I was watching, and you know what? Came out pretty smacking. So pretty cool. Felt pretty slicky. Um, yeah, we're going to talk about some DSCR loans tonight, but we're probably going to keep this one a little short. We got another call here in 30 minutes. Spent some time today. Actually, I was pretty excited. I got um, all the tasks that I wanted to get done knocked out. So I got some action steps. Actually, going to pin up for myself because this is my weekend. Cool. So I got that up. Guys, if you're on Instagram, as always, I can't see you. Comment YouTube or link if you would like the link to come over here. That is up to you, obviously. Facebook, I have dropped the link in the chat, so you can also check that out there. If you're interested in some freebies, DM me on Instagram. There's a quick little guide on there. I did a Think Big recap yesterday and figured out that it actually did not stream to Instagram. Which is kind of weird. I don't know what happened there. So we're pretty much going over some different sales models. So the NEPQ method and the closer framework. The NEPQ model is by Jeremy Meyer, and the closer method is by Alex Hormozi. The NEPQ guide, if you are looking for that, the Black Book of Questions, you can shoot me a DM for that. Black Book NEPQ. You get that for free. I don't have any affiliation with Jeremy Miner. I got it for free, so I'm not giving out his stuff. But I'm trying to spread the wealth now. So if you're interested, you can definitely go check that out. If you want the recap on the sales training, think big. You know where to go. So today I was pretty pumped because I got a lot of the stuff I need to get done. Knocked out super quick, fast, and hurry. When I came home and connected with a gentleman in New Jersey who I'm looking forward to helping acquire some more rental properties. So that should be pretty fun once he's ready to move with that. If we decide that we're a good fit to work. I knocked out my task pretty quick. Came up with that idea that you see back there. Came up with some very good content pieces. Getting close to recording those. And now I'm going to have a list of guests to reach out to for the podcast. So hopefully some of them will be joining us. Looking forward to that. And I'm excited because we're putting the logo together finally. So lots of cool things happening. They not seem like big things, but progress is progress. So, as usual, if you guys have any questions about DSCR, happy to go over those with you. Tonight is usually the night I talk about DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, but we're going to keep this a little short. I'm going to start going into it a little bit. DSCRs, non-QM product, non-QM meaning non-qualified mortgage. They're going to be different from your qualified mortgages, which are going to rely on your personal income to qualify. So on the non-QM side, those are where you're going to find your DSCR lenders. You're going to have a lot more flexibility. And non-QM is mostly known for DSCR, I think, but there are a ton of other options like bank statement, asset qualifier. You got more blanket loans in there. A lot of different stuff that you can actually utilize as someone who has variable income. You might write a lot of things off in taxes, so conventional loan might not be the best option for you because it looks like you don't make much money, but in reality you do. So there, that bank statement option could be the way to go. But of course, most investors like to see the DSCR, and that's going to qualify you based on the property's income, not your personal income. Really cool thing. I spoke with one of my lenders yesterday, and they are rolling out some cool new products, and one of them is going to be a DSCR second. So yeah, DSCR second position mortgage. That's going to be really cool. Should be pretty useful. So yeah, there's just a little update on that. I'm waiting to hear more details. Should have the deets on that pretty soon. So yeah, otherwise, they're going to qualify you based on the property's income, not your personal income. You can use DSCR for a very wide range of properties. Single family, multifamily, you can use them on short-term rentals, long-term rentals, even mixed-use properties. As long as it's 51% or more residential, typically you can get a DSCR loan on it. If that commercial space is bigger, then you might be better off just getting a commercial loan, just because of how the DSCR parameters work. So when you're looking to calculate your DSCR, you're taking that property income, and then you're going to divide that by your debt payments. Do I have a banner for that? Aha. There you go. PITIA, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, any association fees, homeowner association that is, divided by your debt. That is certainly not written correctly. Let me fix that. Your debt is your PITIA. And the DSCR is your property income divided by your debt, otherwise known as your PITIA. And that's going to give you that DSCR ratio. So there we go. That one's better. Property income divided by your debt equals your DSCR. Your PITI is pretty much just going to be your normal mortgage payment. And then, of course, you will take that property income, whatever it is. Simple example, if you have $1,100 in property income and your mortgage is $1,000 a month, then you are cash flowing at, your DSCR ratio would be 1.1. And so, just to show another little example here, a DSCR of 1 pretty much means that you are breaking even. Above 1 shows that the property is cash flowing. So if you want to have a strong DSCR, typically a 1.2 is where you want to be at. And that's going to make you look a lot better getting into some of these properties, because DSCR are riskier loans because they're not verifying your personal income. They're going to be relying heavily on this DSCR. Also, your credit score is going to be one of the main factors there. So having a good credit score definitely helps if you can't get that up before applying. All right, some great things about this. No W-2s, no tax returns required. They are great for those unconventional earners who are self-employed business owners. They might be writing everything off in their taxes, so it looks like they make less money than they actually do. There's no cap on the amount of DSCR loans you can have, which is really cool. Um, for instance, when it comes to conventional, you can only have about 10 loans in your personal name. So if you at that point, you just become too much of a risk for too much of a risk to lend with the lenders because you got so much debt. On the non-QM side, with the DSCR specifically in this case, you can have as many loans as you want. I'm actually writing to an investor that over 100. So there's no cap on the amount of DSCR loans you can have. And so if you're looking for deals the right way, this can be pretty massive in the way you're growing, especially if you're utilizing different things like private money and hard money to help facilitate the process and keep more cash in your pocket. Just make sure that you're getting at a good enough discount. This property is going to be pretty much bank ready because DSCR loans do not include any funds. So that's what you got to watch out for. First decision. I'm not gonna say it. So yeah, applicable to single family rentals, multifamily, short term, mixed use. Typically, these are going to be fixed 30-year loans, but there are also interest only options that you can use. And hope you keep your cost low in front end, or maybe try to stabilize the property. Just be sure that you are ready once that interest only period is going to switch over, because then, of course, you will be paying the interest as well as the principal, so your payment is going to go up. So just make sure you're not, taking on more than you can handle. And that's an area. So there's interest only options. In terms of fixed, there's 15, there's 30, there's 40s. So a lot of different options there. The interest only, typically that's going to be like, you have a 10-year interest only period, and then it switches over to maybe a 20-year fixed rate. And then you can also get adjustable rate mortgages on these. So if you haven't seen, if you don't know what an adjustable rate mortgage is, um, it's going to look something like this, just for example. So that first number, that 5 there, is going to be how long your payment is fixed. Okay, so in this case, it's fixed for the first 5 years, and then that 6 is going to be your adjustment period. So after the first 5 years, that first number, every 6 months, your interest rate adjusts. So that's what you got to be careful of when you're looking at ARMs. So just kind of weigh your options. You got fixed, you got interest only, and then you got ARMs that you can put on these DSCR loans. So these loans can pretty much be used by anyone, um, experience or not. The lenders do impose restrictions. Um, if you are a new investor, and they have a criteria that kind of sets that. So, for instance, a lot of them want you to have owned and operated a rental property for 12 months in like the past 3 years. Um, and of course, if you can't meet that standard, you could always find someone to partner with, um, and leverage their experience. That will work in your favor. But other lenders do impose restrictions sometimes, so that's definitely something to be careful of. For instance, there could be a 5% LTV restrictions for new investors. Not with all lenders, just certain ones. Um, but you just got to be careful because that can also pair with other restrictions that might be on the property. So if you're buying in a declining market, there could also be a 5% or 10% LTV reduction. Short term rentals also typically come with a 5% LTV reduction. So that's just something you want to be aware of and be able to factor into your payment schedules. Okay. Um, High credit scores, they definitely will help when it comes to DSCR loans. It's going to be one of the main factors in determining your rate. So the higher your score, the better potential rate that you can actually get. And then your DSCR is also going to, play an effect there with your rate. So typically with DSCR loans, you can, if you want to put more of a down payment, that could also help you get that lower rate because there's less risk for the lender. What's I about to say? Gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys. High credit scores. You don't need them, but they do help. Typically, if you are getting, if you have a decent credit score, you could have a rate half a point higher than conventional, which conventional is somewhere around 7.1 the last time I checked. So, think about mid sevens. And that's likely going to be without buying points. So they're pretty good rates, and especially on an investment property, you're not actually paying down the debt. Your tenants are, and so that's the good thing. But if you really want that rate, you can always buy it down. That is an option. DSCR loans do not cover any renovation costs. These are business purpose loans. So, for house hacking or anything like that, you will not be able to live in the property. In fact, you want to have these rent ready when you go to move in or when you go to finance these. So the sooner that you can, get that property cleaned up, get it stabilized, the better when it comes to a DSCR loan. So some couple of tips for boosting your ratios. You could try reducing your operating expenses, maybe negotiating some property management fees, energy efficient upgrades, like solar panels, for instance. Maybe you could try to attract a higher paying tenant by cleaning up the property more, fixing up the property more. Check the market rents in your area, see if you are, below the market, and if you are, then you could potentially raise up if you wanted to do that. So there's just a couple ways that you can use to boost that ratio of yours. There's not going to be a lot of documents that are going to be needed on this. Everything's pretty simple, but these properties will be appraised because your loan will be based on the appraised value. And so you're going to be looking at the 1007 when it comes to those single family rentals. And then on those multifamily, you're going to want the 1025. You're going to want to have some rent rolls on hand. So just be aware of that. You can also purchase a property that hasn't been rented out with a DSCR loan. And pretty much what they'll do is they'll use that 1007, that market rent analysis, and they will check the rents in the area, which makes short-term rentals a little difficult, which is why I recommend to always underwrite as a long-term rental first. And if you pivot later, that's just your choice. Just because that strategy works better for you, that's what you got to do. And so it's also going to, you're going to look like you have a lower DSCR if you have a short-term rental underwritten as a long-term rental, but obviously, short-term rentals will bring in a little bit more money. But again, the long-term underwriting as a long-term rental first is going to help you to avoid that 5% LTV reduction. So that's 5% more at closing that you don't have to bring to the table. Yeah, definitely. Big one. Having reserves on hand. A lot of variation in needing reserves. So Typically, you want to have at least 6 to 12 months. That's a pretty healthy amount of reserves. There's lenders who go to 3 months. There are lenders who do no reserve requirements. Um, those could possibly have higher rates. So that really is depending on the lender and their criteria. Different lenders specialize in different things. So some focus on short-term rentals. Some are more for the long-term rentals. There are also lenders who have programs, specifically for those 1 to 4 unit, and then there are some that have those 5 to 10 as well. Um, Now, 10 isn't the highest you can go. There are lenders who go higher than that. You just have to find the right ones to work with. If you have multiple loans, it is always good to try new lenders. Um, a lot of the DSCR products are pretty much all the same. And so what it's really going to come down to is the loan officer or broker really knowing the programs and learning those nuances that make some lenders better in certain scenarios than other lenders, um, and getting them all that information up front can make sure that they're getting used to the right place. So that is definitely something to look out for. For instance, if you want to use gift funds or you want to hold your property in a vested LLC, those are some very common restrictions. Um, Vested LLC means that the entity that is purchasing the property is owned by another entity. So essentially it's layering. Think of like an onion. And then what's the other term I said? I have no idea. But yeah, if you've got multiple loans, it's definitely good to try with different lenders because you never know what kind of products they have, what kind of product you might find, and what little nuances that you might never knew you needed until you actually start using one of those. So DSCR loan is going to be great for single family, multifamily, mixed use. There's also blanket DSCRs, so that'll look at multiple properties, and that'll also increase your purchasing power because now you're putting all of these homes under one big loan. So that can simplify the financing process for you. Also increases your borrowing power. You just got to be careful on that because if you overspend, not overspend, but if you happen to default for some reason, now all your property's at risk. And then there's other little things that might get on your nerves, like having to talk to the lender about refinancing a single property instead of the whole portfolio. So that's just something to be aware of. Hard money is definitely commonly used with these. So most of the time, you would get a property at a discount, fix it up using hard money or private money, and then you would use a DSCR loan to refinance. That's the typical purchase process with one of these loans. Now, there are seasoning times on these properties. So again, it's going to really depend what lender you want to work with. There are lenders with no seasoning, 3 months, 6 to 9 months is pretty typical. And so that also applies to if you put a property on market and you decide to take it off market, or just how long it's been since it has been on market in general. Typically, that's about 6 months. But during that time frame, you will actually not be able to put a DSCR on it if it was on market. So that's something you need to factor into your strategy in case maybe you're flipping a property and something happens and you're like, well, shoot, we'll just keep this as a rental, or keep this as a rental, and you want to put a DSCR on it. You got to be aware that a lot of lenders have that 6-month penalty. So this will be a great option to use with the BRRRR method. That is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. If you're familiar with BiggerPockets, they talk about that on there a lot. And that's a very popular place to learn more about DSCR loans. So of course, that's going to be your hard money. That's where you fix up the property. and then you will, rehab, rent, refinance with the DSCR. Um, Now, quick reminder: DSCR is a business purpose loan only, and it does not include any rehab funds whatsoever. So you want that property to be pretty much turnkey before you're trying to go and get a DSCR loan, because that's one of the first things they're going to ask. What condition is the property in? And if it ain't fixed up, you're probably not getting that loan. These are also great for Section 8 assisted living, co-living models. I am talking to a couple lenders about pad splits right now. And so they seem pretty okay with it. So I'm, hoping somebody brings me a scenario sometime soon that we can really test the waters on this and figure out what the A to B is going to be on these pad splits and how we can get them done more effectively. And then, of course, you can use your 1031 exchange proceeds to actually pay for your down payment on a DSCR. So, a 1031, for those who might not be familiar, you'll have to, you sell your property and then you'll have X amount of time. I believe it's like 180 days. And in that time frame, you need to have located another asset and purchased it, or else you're going to get taxed on the full balance that you receive, which nobody wants that, right? Cool. Well, I have about 7 minutes left, and then I need to hop off onto another call. So if anybody has questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Um, if not, that's really all I got for tonight. Um, and yeah, I am I'm still working on the list. Still working on the list of people that I would like to invite on the show. And we will be releasing the first episode, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Haven't quite decided on a time yet, but keep an eye out for that, because that is definitely the hard deadline that I have set. And so the goal is to be able to release a episode every week, every Saturday. So we got a lot of work ahead of us in just making sure that we are staying on top of things and we are finding new guests to bring new levels of value to you guys. So a lot of fun stuff in the works. Chris, I appreciate you tuning in. E-Town. Where's E-Town? But 2025 is going to be a fantastic year. But yeah, it's funny. This is it was kind of weird doing these at first, and now I feel like I am, way more comfortable on the camera. The big thing I'm trying to do is find more topics to have set nights for specific topics. Oh, Elizabethtown, 30 minutes from Harrisburg. Oh, cool. I'm in Waynesboro. So Harrisburg is like what, an hour away, hour and a half max, something like that. Um, oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong meetup. There is a meetup. There is a meetup closer out that way though. I can't remember the name of it. It's on meetup.com. I'll have to take a look for that. Oh, dope. Part of the Discord group, does creative deals and DSCR all day. Yeah, I'm definitely happy to help. See if I can take a look at any of your scenarios and see what we can work on. Because I'm trying to get busy this year. My main focus is going to be content, but I want to provide a lot of education, give a lot of people the understanding, present a lot of case studies. So yeah. Well, cool, cool. Um, if that is all we got, I'm gonna go ahead and roll out here and get ready for this call. Chris, appreciate you coming in. I'll be back tomorrow. Not exactly sure what we have planned, but we'll figure it out because tomorrow is going to be, oh, tomorrow's Friday. Ready for the weekend. Ready for the weekend. All right. Well, I will see y'all laters.